All right, what's happening, everybody? It's another garage episode. However, I'm extremely excited about this one because we getting more power, baby. Don't worry about these. I got a lot of work to do. I probably drink more Monster than Greg Albarella. So, anyway, stuff that we got going on today. I got a lot of engine work to do. Let me show you guys real quick what I'm talking about. You've probably seen a little bit of it, which, by the way, if you guys don't follow my Instagram, head over there. It's at Square One Speed. Just don't put channel. It's just at Square One Speed. And you guys can see a lot of sneak peeks of stuff that I'm already doing. I kind of leak things and show little snapshots of what I'm getting into. So you guys can get a little bit of an early insider tip, I guess. But what we got today, I've got to put that on and I've got to put that on, which, by the way, if you guys haven't looked him up, Jeff Schrick at Oregon Coast Powersports hooked it up. This dude came through in a big way, made some beautiful work. You guys can see etched itself in there. It's a lot better than a lot of the etch pens I see guys doing, which actually, yeah, like that. But went through, got port job on this. He did valves and springs. Then over here on the carb, he did his 42.5 taper bore on it, and then a bunch of new gaskets and some new jets. His little special sauce. So all that stuff has to go in today because I've got a thrash on this thing before first race of the year for Works, which is January 15th through the 17th. That's round one for Works this year. So we're going back to Lake Havasu, which is awesome. I can't wait for that. But I've got to thrash on this thing, get it all back together, shims, and then I'm still waiting on the suspension. But before this video's over, I will have the suspension on. You guys will see that too, but it's just not here. It's still sitting in shipping, and I paid buku bucks for it, and I'm still waiting on it. It's been since September, but I'll talk a little bit more about that once we get there. However, let's get started on ripping the head off of this and getting the new one prepped, and then sticking it on, and the carb and all that stuff, and then I could probably fire it and make sure everything's running good and break in the cam. At least I can get that done. So let's hop to it. Hey, cool little trick in case you guys need to get your header studs out of your old head, because I was dumb and didn't order a new set of studs, which would take forever. Anyway, what we're going to do is put two different nuts on there. All right, these are both, I think they're just like 13 millimeter, whatever. Back one up against one that you've tightened all the way down. All right, then I had to get a skinny little set of crescents, but then tighten this one back up against it. And you can extract the stud. So it's actually coming out. I put a little bit of red Loctite on them when I put them in, but luckily that's broken loose. So there. Now I can get the old head studs out and put them in the new one, and we'll be good to go. All right, before I go any further, let me show you guys what I was doing over here. All right, so first, I was making sure I was at top dead center because it makes taking this off a lot easier up here, which, by the way, if you guys don't know what top dead center is, there's a little T mark in here. It's kind of hard to see, but you got to look kind of in towards the case to see it. Once you guys are rotating from the other side, there should be a little Allen key once you open that little sight over there. So you remove the cap, and then you remove this cap, and there's that hash mark right here. should be able to see the hash mark, and then there's a T on the flywheel down there that you line up. All right, so put it at top dead center. Another thing that's a dead giveaway is when you're top dead center, all the lobes should be facing to the rear here. So that should be another indicator. What it also does is once I take this head off, I'm also going to go in here and take a look at the cylinder and the piston. And when you're at top dead center, that brings the piston up so I can actually see everything. And once I slide the cylinder off, I should be able to get a much better look instead of having the cylinder all the way at the bottom and then I got to try to crank it up when there's no cylinder there to hold it straight. So it just makes it easier to inspect everything, which is also a good idea since I'm going to be in there. I might as well take a look at it all and see if the piston and the cylinder need replacing, which I think they're good. There's still plenty of compression. No complaints about that. So we'll keep digging into it. I'll take the cam tower off and then I'll drop the chain down so I can pull everything off and then we'll keep going. So moving on. This is what I was talking about, so let me get some light on here. Okay, so once you have it at top dead center, you've got the piston already up in the jug so that it's easy once you pull it off. Just don't let this thing slam around, and you can take a look at it right away. And from what I can see, there's nothing out of whack so far. Next thing you do is, screw the light, grab this piston, all right, and we're gonna give it a little pull up and down, and there should be no play, and I don't feel any play whatsoever. Now, a little side-to-side play is okay, but we're going to actually check that with some feeler gauges to make sure that we don't have too much side-to-side play on the crank. But up and down play, I'm not getting any, so that's a good sign to start. So I'm going to go get the feeler gauges and check the sides of the actual rod, the connecting rod where it meets the crank. And if I have a good gap there, then everything's good to go. I'm going to put the cylinder back on and run with it. Judging by what I can see in here, so if you guys can see that, let's see if I can get in some good light here. You can still see the cross hatching, the factory cross hatching, and I don't see any excessive wear. Nice and smooth. I'm not catching any edges, but there's still a nice cross hatch in there. We go. That's some good light. You guys can see the crosshatch still in there. So this cylinder is good to go. We're going to use this one again. Here's the old head. As you can see, I already shimmed it, but I didn't even run it, so it was kind of a waste of time. But Jeff got everything back so fast that didn't even have to run the old head, which is good. You can see right here, let me get that in some light. You can see some white stuff in there. And right here around this stud, it started getting real hot because of that gap that we had with the old pipe on it. But this new one sealed up really good with that crush washer in there. So can't wait to get that Rossier back on there. I love the sound of that thing. So spark plug actually looked really good. Just a little light brown. I don't see any issues with it. Everything's burning nice and clean. So we're gonna put that back in. Got the new head. Gonna start putting all these pieces back on. Got your temp sensor. Gonna put that on with the thermostat and its housing. I've got the cam chain tensioner back there. Gonna clean up the top of this. Put this cam on. So this is the Stage 2 hot cam. I haven't run it yet, but I'm gonna put some more assembly lube on it. Put it on here, and we're gonna start with a 165 shim and a 220 shim on the, oh, sorry, I got them backwards. 220 on the exhaust side and a 165 on the intake side, and we're gonna start there. I guess that's a good starting point. Jeff, like I said, Jeff Schrick at Oregon Coast Powersports has been nothing but help. So the dude's giving me all kinds of advice on like, hey, where I should start with shims, what kind of jetting's in there, what settings, where the needle's at. There's stuff I didn't even know about where you're setting your needle, and you can leave jets alone. And so the guy's a master. We're gonna start putting this together and then put the cam on there, the cam tower, with the shims that he said, and start there, do our measurements, and then start doing some math. So we'll go from there and keep going. so I've gone through most of it. I've got the engine back together, the head back on. I didn't video absolutely every little detail, but everything's torqued back down as far as the head goes. Those are 40 foot-pounds for those nuts that go on top. The gaskets are all sitting nice and flush. All the side bolts are tight. I just torqued down the cam tower bolts. Those only go to like 10 foot-pounds. Not a huge deal. Just know that when you guys do the head studs and you tighten the nuts back down, do them to like 20 foot-pounds first in that crisscross pattern, and then do them to 40 after that, and have a little bit of assembly lube on there so that everything tightens nice and even instead of binding. And then I'll get to the cam gear bolts. Those are like 14 foot-pounds, and make sure you put a little blue Loctite on there so that those don't come loose. But I'm not going to film everything for you guys. It's just I'm kind of explaining as I go because it takes a long time to get it right. Everything's shimmed. I only had to change one shim. Jeff suggested I do like 165 shims on the intakes and 2.2 shims on the exhaust valves, right? Yeah. And that was almost right on the money. That was really close. I only had to change the left side exhaust for one shim size. That was it. So I went to like a 225 just to make sure it's a little tighter. So thanks, Jeff, for hitting that up and giving me a little bit of guidance, so I wasn't out here pulling this thing on and off like 10 times, making sure I got the right shim size. So awesome to work with that guy. Cannot wait to see what this thing does. I still got to put the carb on, throw the gas tank on. I'm going to make sure I got a little assembly lube on the cam lobes to make sure it doesn't burn up when I start running it for the first time. And then, yeah, get it started, warm it up, break it in a little bit, and then go for a ride. Okay, as you guys can see, I've pretty much got the engine done, and I've just tossed the gas tank on. I'm not going to start it tonight because it's starting to get late, and I'm definitely going to wake some people up. But I'm going to put a little bit of gas in it and make sure I've got the accelerator pump timing just where I want it. I've kind of got the throttle where I want it. It's a hair trigger right now, so I might have to loosen that up later anyway. But I'll mess with idle tomorrow, and I'll make sure accelerator pump's set tonight, and then tomorrow I'm going to fire this thing off. So let me wrap this up for tonight, and then I'll see you guys again tomorrow. All right, it's day 2. I buttoned up everything last night, got the engine back together, checked the accelerator pump timing, and put a little bit of gas in it. Now, I'd be lying if I said this would be the first start, but I did start it last night just to make sure it was running. And this morning, I checked idle and made sure the throttle was back where I wanted it. So now you guys are going to get your first fire. So you guys will see this thing actually running with stage 2 hot cam, Oregon Coast Powersports port and polish on the head, and we've got the 42.5 millimeter bore on the FCR carb. So this thing sounds ridiculous, and I can't wait to actually ride it. I may actually ride this thing before the suspension comes in just so you guys can see my first reactions, because I have a feeling that it's going to be nuts. We're definitely over the 50 horsepower mark, but I don't know where until we get to an actual dyno. So maybe that's coming up in the future. But let me get the key in it and start this thing so you guys can hear it for the first time. It sounds wicked. Now, you guys heard the exhaust video when I put the new Rossier on there. compared to the rocket exhaust. So the rocket exhaust is kind of held down to some motocross level decibels, but the Rossier was already loud. It is way louder now with all the porting and all that open header, all that stuff. The Stage 2 cam sounds really good in there. You can hear it loping just a little bit. I can't wait to rip this thing and just see how ridiculous it is. So let's button it up, and then we'll go out and do that, and you guys will at least see my first impressions of this thing. All right, I'm geared up. Let's get this thing started, and then we'll go get first impressions. By the way, if you guys are wondering why my phone's up there, I want to do a little speed run too, because I had a couple of you telling me, God, that thing's slow for a 450. Well, we're going to go check it out. Now, keep in mind, I changed my sprocket back to stock sizes and my tires back to 20-inch tires. So I think that makes more of a difference than doing sprocket changes. So we'll go do a little bit of a speed run too, just to see. There's a nice straight dirt road I might be able to get up to speed on. So let's get to it. Cut the jibba jabba. Let's get to action. Oh, it fires up so quick and easy. I love it. Let it warm up for just a second. I will say this. Thanks to Jeff for getting everything done so quick up at Oregon Coast Powersports. It was easily just under a 2-week turnaround. And he had everything done, back to me, looking fresh, clean, ready to put on. And he definitely helped me through the process of putting everything back together. All right, should be warm. Now, I've only had this thing idling in the garage and given it a few wraps of the gas, kind of at a high idle, just to make sure the cam's broken in. I've got about 20 minutes of it. 20 minutes of idle time, I think it is. Oh, hey, let's go over here. It just sounds so smooth with freshly adjusted valves and everything. Before, this thing was making quite a bit of noise. The engine was making some noise because the valves were getting super tight, and I think what we were hearing was compression being lost through the valves because they were so tight they're actually being held open, so I was losing compression pretty bad. We got through that. I freshly shimmed that last head, and then I ended up getting this one back, so I didn't even get to run the other one. But I am so impressed with the way everything looks so far that I'm probably going to send that other head to Jeff and have him work on that too. Oh man, this thing feels smooth. Power. More power, baby. You know what this reminds me of? It sounds like Pete's Raptor. Not even gonna lie. It's making some good power. Yeah. Eating it up. Now, I don't have the same amount of power that Pete's Raptor has, obviously. But that Rossier, I heard somebody tell me it's not Rossier, it's Rossier. I'm not sure, guys. I call it Rossier because I think it's French. Maybe I'm way wrong, but Rossier just sounds cool. Woo-hoo. Let's do a little sand section. This thing just cruises. I'll tell you right now, the power isn't ridiculous either. It's super smooth, but there's just so much of it. So far, first impressions are awesome. All right, we got the road here. Ooh, I got it. All right, we'll use those as our finish line. We'll start down at that end. We'll get a little top speed run. It really puts some pressure on this thing. Now the setup, you guys, it's just the board carb, the ported head, some bigger jets, and then the stage 2 hot cam. So I haven't done high compression piston. I haven't done anything like a Wiseco piston in there. It's still stock piston, stock compression, nothing crazy like that. I really don't think that you have to go to high compression to get this kind of power, where a lot of guys will slap a high compression piston in real quick. It works, but I think the port and everything works just a little bit better. Plus, if you do port, that opens you up to do more high compression stuff later anyway. But I'm also running on 105, I should say that. I've got 105 octane in here. There's a gas station here with a pump that gives you 110 or 100, and I usually mix the 110 with a little bit of 91 to cut it. But it seems to run really well on it. All right, top speed run. Jeff, what did we do? I saw 78 and it wasn't done climbing yet, but I was about ready to tap out before we hit the end of the road. Oh my God. We've unleashed an animal. All right, so let's just talk about this thing for like real quick. We're just gonna kind of go over it. First off, I gotta be very thankful to Jeff for getting that thing turned around so quick and for doing such a great job. He was so nice and so understanding. Like he knew what I wanted to do. He knew I didn't want to go nuts with it. I didn't need to make this a full drag or full dune drag bike, you know, sand drag bike or anything. I just wanted some reliable horsepower somewhere in that 55 horsepower range, which I think we've achieved it with a little bit of tweaking and a dyno run, which I may still do. I'm probably going to do. We'll be able to figure out where this thing sits after everything's done. The other thing, I've picked up a couple sponsors for the year, not for the channel, all right, but I do want to spread their name on the channel. First off, Jeff up at Oregon Coast Powersports. He agreed to sponsor me for the year. This is going to be my 2021 works bike. And he's going to help me with this thing. I did send the head in and the carb in after we talked about the sponsoring. Okay, I could tell you right now, he's got a very good deal on getting these things done. So in case anybody was wondering, his port job on the carb, the 42.5 millimeter bore, he does a taper bore on it. Doesn't take him long. He rebuilds the carb. He puts new mid-body gaskets in there for you. Basically came back to me looking brand new. It's $225. If you want to get some more gaskets, some different jets and stuff, we're talking $250. And you've got a 42.5 millimeter FCR carb. Easy, easy day. As for the head work, doing the port and all that, that's about $400. That's right in that range, maybe a little bit more. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff. You probably will anyway. But then I had him add some valves and springs because I had just a bare head. There was nothing on it anyway. I had an original OEM 08 head sitting in a box that I hadn't touched yet, and I wanted to send that, so it was just a fresh start. So we got a brand new head on there with new stuff all over it, and it worked out real well. Stage 2 hot cam I had sitting in the garage for a while. I've been wanting to do it, and the old head, I put it on, readjusted valves, got all that done after screwing around for hours, and then didn't even use it anyway. But whatever. It doesn't hurt me at all. I don't really care because I've got this fresh one on there, so I'll probably send the other one out to him. I've also got another carb I'll probably send out to him, so I've got backups for the year since stuff breaks anyway. I do want to show you guys the beautiful etching he put on there. OCP, baby. Now, a lot of the guys that I see doing heads, a lot of companies that do heads, you'll see them put like an etch pen so you know who's been in there. But this is by far the prettiest I've seen. Just saying. Prettiest I've seen so far. Anyway, as for fueling, I think I've got a 205 main jet in now. I may just mess with the fueling a little bit, but I don't think I need to. It's like 1.5 to 1 3/4 turns out right now. That's it. That's all I need to do. First impressions are through the roof right now, guys. I can't say it enough how happy I am to have this, that, and Jeff on board for the year. Super excited to see what's going to come of that. I really like what Jeff's doing. He does a lot of great work, and I would really like to get his name out there. The guy does such good stuff, and some of you already expressed interest. Great. Please go talk to Jeff. He can hook you up. He can square you away, make sure you're set in whatever you want to do. He makes 70 horsepower, 500 big bore kits. Or he doesn't make the kit, but he makes 70 horsepower, 450Rs, sitting there on the dyno. He's got all kinds of sheets for it. He can make 60 on this thing with pump gas. I'm running 105. That's just what I run, just because I like how clean it burns. But super excited for that. Another sponsor I've picked up, they're not on here right now, but LS4 Fibers. Now, that was like my first ever sponsor. I'm kind of excited because I got one. That's really the main thing. But I've got a hood of theirs right now. I've got their Brawler hood. This isn't it right now, but I've got a whole new set of plastics that are going to go on here. New graphics kit. This thing, when you guys see it again, is going to be completely new. Like all brand new plastics, graphics. I've got a new hood. I've also got that CRF skid plate that LS4 Fibers makes, or I don't know if they make it, but they carry it. But that should be coming any day now. Hopefully they stop making the 3/8. So I went and got the 1/2 inch instead. But I'll get all that stuff on there. The only thing I'm kind of worried about is the LS4 hood requires you to drill up here into your plastics because it's so much longer. And I'm not sure I want to do that. I might just drill back through the hood, sacrifice a $100 hood versus, $300 worth of front plastics. I don't know yet. But the front is the same as the Myers. You still have to drill in, but it hooks around the end there. So anyway, super excited, very happy with the way this thing has turned out so far. Can't wait to get the suspension on. That'll be the next video, and then this thing will be a completely different animal. It already is, but I cannot wait to get this year started. So let's fire this up and head back. That's a handful. All right, so that does it for this video. We're all wrapped up, got it all back together. It runs so well. I couldn't be happier with the results. I'm kind of a big guy. I need a little more horsepower anyway, I guess. About 240 pounds, so it's got to lug my big butt around anyway. But I don't know where we're at with power. I'll probably go find out. That'll be another video for sure. I'm going to go to some dynos. I think there's a few in Phoenix. Jeff knows a few, so probably hit them up and see if we can get some dyno videos of this thing actually running, get it tuned really well, because I can't tell without or with the O2 sensors or anything like that. So hopefully we can go get it tuned soon. But it runs strong. It's not uncontrollable. It's very smooth power, and it runs really well. Like, there's no hiccups or anything. Everything seems to jive really well together. So I am so excited to get this thing out this year. Once the new plastics are on, new graphics, new suspension, all that, this thing is going to be ridiculous. I'm never going to get rid of it. Bury me with it. That's a lie. I probably won't have it forever, but I'll have it as long as I can. Really excited to have you guys out here for this. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, I got to thank Oregon Coast Powersports for picking me up for this year as a sponsor, and also LS4 Fibers. They picked me up as a sponsor this year. This is the new hood. Again, a couple things. It's huge. It really looks good. Just kind of looks like it was cut a little bit funny, but we'll stick it on there. We'll see how that goes this year. My front graphics won't fit on there, so I'll just probably make something up as we go. But it looks good. I really like the look of the Brawler hood. So again, thanks to the sponsors for picking me up this year. Hopefully we can get some more for the season. I've sent out some resumes. Hopefully I get some, but excited to have you guys along for the year and see how this thing turns out. I'm really glad you guys stick around for the revival of the fittest series here. Basically, is I've taken this thing and it's just metamorphosized from day one to now. It's awesome to see some of you guys comment and really let me know what you guys think, things that you've done, stuff that you're curious about. I really like you guys follow along and see this thing as it's changed. It's just morphed into this thing so far, and it's not even done yet. So really glad you guys come along, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.